The salvage vessel drifted silently through the asteroid belt, its sensor arrays probing the darkness of space. Marcus Rodriguez sat hunched over the primary control panel, his weathered hands moving with practiced precision across the holographic displays. The lunar colony's salvage contract was straightforward: locate, assess, and retrieve valuable technology or materials from the vast debris fields that littered this sector of space. Outside the reinforced viewports, frozen crystals of forgotten spacecraft drifted like ghosts, remnants of centuries of interstellar exploration and conflict. Most salvage crews would have passed by this section of space without a second glance. But Marcus was different. Where others saw empty space, he saw potential. Hidden treasures waiting to be discovered, stories waiting to be uncovered. The ship's quantum resonance scanner began to pulse with an unusual rhythm. Marcus leaned forward, his cybernetic eye, a replacement after a salvage accident years ago, zooming in on the faint energy signature. Most standard scanners would have missed it entirely, but his custom-modified system caught the subtlest of anomalies. "Computer," he called out, his voice steady and controlled. "Enhance Quadrant 7 Delta. Confirm readings." The ship's artificial intelligence responded in a neutral tone. Anomalous energy signature detected. Composition inconsistent with known stellar debris. Recommendation: investigate with caution. Marcus allowed himself a slight smile. Caution had never been his strong suit, especially when something truly interesting presented itself. He adjusted the ship's trajectory, the massive salvage vessel moving with surprising grace for its size. Decades of experience had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now, those instincts were screaming that something extraordinary was waiting to be found. As they drew closer, the energy signature became more pronounced. It wasn't like anything in the standard databases, not human, not from any of the known alien civilizations that humanity had encountered in the past century. The signature was complex, layered with frequencies that seemed to shift and change, even as the sensors tried to analyze them. The ship's external cameras began to capture the first visual data. Marcus felt a familiar surge of excitement, the same feeling he'd experienced during his most significant discoveries. What started as a faint outline slowly resolved into something remarkable. It wasn't just another piece of space debris. This was a complete vessel, unlike anything he had ever seen before. Its hull seemed to be composed of a material that defied traditional understanding. Where human and known alien spacecraft used distinct materials, metals, composites, ceramic alloys, this vessel appeared to be something entirely different. The surface seemed to breathe, to pulse with an internal rhythm that suggested something more than simple mechanical construction. "Computer," Marcus called out, "run a full spectral analysis. I want to know everything about this object." The artificial intelligence worked silently, processing data at speeds that would have been impossible just a decade earlier. Marcus knew the value of patience in salvage work. Each moment of careful observation could mean the difference between a routine mission and a breakthrough that could change everything. Minutes stretched into an hour. The mysterious vessel remained motionless, suspended in the vast darkness of space. Its size was impressive, easily 5 times larger than Marcus's salvage ship, with dimensions that seemed to challenge traditional understanding of spacecraft design. The hull surface caught what little light existed, reflecting and refracting in patterns that seemed to tell a story of their own. Analysis complete, the computer announced finally. Object classification: unknown. Technological complexity: beyond current cataloging parameters. Recommended approach: extreme caution. Marcus chuckled. Extreme caution was for those who never made significant discoveries. He had built his reputation on taking calculated risks, on seeing potential where others saw only danger. "Prepare external interface protocols," he commanded. "We're going to make contact." The salvage ship's robotic arms extended, designed to manipulate and investigate everything from small asteroid fragments to large spacecraft remnants. But Marcus knew, deep in his bones, that this was going to be different. This wasn't just another salvage job. This was something that could change everything humanity understood about technology, about exploration, about their place in the universe. As the robotic arms reached out toward the mysterious vessel, Marcus felt a surge of anticipation. Something extraordinary was about to happen. He could feel it in every fiber of his being. The first contact was nothing like Marcus expected. As the robotic arms of his salvage vessel extended toward the mysterious spacecraft, the surface seemed to ripple, not with mechanical resistance, but with an almost organic response. His cybernetic eye flickered, recalibrating multiple times as the readings defied every known technological parameter. "Computer," Marcus muttered, "are you seeing this?" The ship's artificial intelligence responded with clinical precision. Molecular structure of target vessel demonstrates unprecedented adaptive properties. Recommendation: proceed with maximum caution. Caution had never been Marcus's strongest trait. He activated the specialized interface probes, cutting-edge technology developed by the lunar colony's most advanced research teams. These weren't simple mechanical connectors, but quantum-entangled communication devices designed to interface with the most complex technological systems known to humanity. The moment the probe made contact, something extraordinary happened. Instead of a standard diagnostic response, the alien vessel seemed to pulse with an internal rhythm. Layers of complex data began to stream into Marcus's systems, not in any recognizable format, but in cascading waves of information that seemed to dance between mathematical precision and pure artistic expression. His primary display erupted with a symphony of colors and patterns. Quantum algorithms worked overtime, attempting to translate the incoming data stream. Marcus watched in fascination as his most advanced decryption systems struggled to make sense of the information. It was like watching someone try to translate a complex musical composition into a mathematical equation. Possible, but requiring extraordinary skill. "Incremental translation in progress," the computer announced. Warning: data complexity exceeds current processing capabilities. Marcus leaned closer to the display, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Years of salvage work had trained him to read between the lines, to understand the stories that technology could tell. This vessel wasn't just a machine. It was a living archive, a repository of knowledge that seemed to pulse with an almost sentient energy. Fragments of information began to resolve. Star charts unlike anything in human databases, technological schematics that seemed to challenge fundamental understanding of physics, glimpses of a civilization that had developed technologies so advanced they bordered on the miraculous. The vessel's systems began to respond to Marcus's touch in ways that defied logical explanation. Where a standard interface would require precise digital commands, this ship seemed to anticipate his intentions. Diagnostic pathways opened like intricate flower petals, revealing layers of complexity that would take years, perhaps decades, to fully comprehend. Preliminary translation suggests technological origin, the computer reported. Estimated age: approximately 3.2 million standard years. Technological complexity: beyond current human understanding. Marcus whistled softly. Most salvage crews would have already called in a research team, would have begun the bureaucratic process of claiming and studying the vessel. But Marcus saw something more. This wasn't just a technological discovery. It was a story waiting to be understood. The ship's internal systems continued to respond to his presence. Quantum circuits that had been dormant for millennia began to flicker with potential energy. Marcus realized he was doing more than just interfacing with a machine. He was communicating with something that challenged the very definition of technology. His cybernetic eye began to overlay additional data. Microscopic analysis revealed that the vessel's molecular structure was unlike anything in known scientific records. It wasn't simply built. It had been grown, cultivated like an incredibly complex organism. Each component seemed to have a purpose that went far beyond simple mechanical function. "Computer," Marcus called out, "run a comprehensive analysis of molecular interaction patterns." The artificial intelligence worked silently, processing data at speeds that would have been impossible just a decade earlier. Marcus knew the value of patience. Each moment of careful observation could mean the difference between a routine discovery and a breakthrough that could reshape humanity's understanding of technology. As hours passed, the vessel continued to reveal its secrets. Layers of information unveiled themselves like the pages of an ancient living book. Marcus found himself moving beyond traditional interface protocols, his hands dancing across the holographic displays with an intuition that seemed to transcend normal technological interaction. Something was happening. Something that went far beyond a simple salvage operation. The mysterious vessel was communicating, not through standard digital protocols, but through a language of pure potential. And Marcus Rodriguez was about to become the first human to truly understand its message. The transformation happened gradually, then all at once. What began as a tentative connection between Marcus and the alien vessel evolved into something far more complex. The ship's internal systems began to respond with an intelligence that defied conventional understanding of technology. Marcus's workspace became a symphony of light and motion. Holographic displays shifted and realigned, creating intricate three-dimensional representations of systems that seemed to breathe with their own internal logic. His specialized diagnostic tools, once cutting-edge technology, now appeared almost primitive compared to the complexity unfolding before him. Molecular restructuring detected, the computer announced. Warning: system interactions exceed standard predictive models. He barely heard the warning. Marcus was deep in concentration, his cybernetic eye tracking microscopic changes that would have been invisible to standard sensors. Each moment revealed another layer of the vessel's incredible complexity. It wasn't just a machine. It was a living system, a technological organism that carried within it the memories of an entire civilization. Fragments of history began to emerge, not through traditional data retrieval, but through a form of communication that felt more like understanding than reading. Marcus saw glimpses of star systems long extinct, of a civilization that had mastered technologies humanity could barely comprehend. The vessel was more than a spacecraft. It was an archive, a living library of knowledge that had survived across millions of years. His hands moved with an intuition that surprised even himself. Where other mechanics would have been lost, Marcus found pathways, discovered connections. The ship responded to his touch like a complex musical instrument, each interaction creating harmonies of technological potential. Quantum circuits that had been dormant for millennia began to pulse with renewed energy. Preliminary systems restoration at 17%, the computer reported. Caution advised. Marcus chuckled. Caution was for those who never made significant discoveries. He had built his entire career on pushing boundaries, on seeing potential where others saw only impossibility. The vessel's internal structure began to reveal its true nature. What initially appeared to be a simple spacecraft was actually a complex ecosystem of technological components. Each system interconnected in ways that challenged fundamental understanding of engineering. Molecular structures shifted and realigned, creating pathways of communication that seemed to defy the laws of physics. His cybernetic eye captured details that would have been missed by standard sensors. Microscopic components worked in perfect synchronization, a level of technological integration that humanity had only dreamed about. The ship was healing itself, responding to Marcus's touch with an intelligence that bordered on the miraculous. Hours passed like minutes. Marcus lost track of time, completely absorbed in the extraordinary discovery. The salvage vessel's systems continued to monitor their position, but inside the alien craft, a more profound transformation was taking place. Each connection Marcus made seemed to awaken dormant systems, revealing capabilities that went far beyond simple mechanical repair. Quantum entanglement detected, the computer warned. System interactions becoming increasingly complex. Marcus understood now that he was doing more than just repairing a spacecraft. He was communicating with a technological marvel that carried the memories of an entire civilization. The vessel responded to his touch with increasing complexity, revealing systems that seemed to anticipate his every move. Diagnostic screens filled with patterns of incredible intricacy, mathematical equations that seemed to dance and shift, telling stories of technological development that went beyond human comprehension. Marcus realized he was witnessing something unprecedented, a living technology that was as much an organism as it was a machine. The ship's original purpose began to emerge in fragments. Not a weapon of war, as many might have assumed, but a diplomatic instrument. A vessel designed to bridge differences, to understand and mediate between civilizations. Its complex systems were built not for destruction, but for communication, for understanding. As the final connections were made, something extraordinary happened. The vessel's internal systems aligned in a moment of perfect synchronization. Marcus felt a sudden, profound connection, as if the ship was no longer just a machine, but a living entity that had been waiting millions of years to be understood. Primary systems online, the computer announced. Capabilities unknown. Marcus Rodriguez sat back, understanding that everything was about to change. The universe had just revealed one of its most profound secrets, and he was the first human to truly see it. The boundaries between technology and consciousness began to blur. Marcus watched in awe as the alien vessel's capabilities unfolded like an intricate living blueprint. What had started as a routine salvage mission had transformed into something far beyond scientific exploration. A dance of technological symbiosis that challenged everything humanity understood about machines and intelligence. Quantum circuits that had slumbered for millennia now hummed with unprecedented energy. The ship's systems responded to Marcus's presence with an intelligence that defied conventional understanding. Each touch, each diagnostic probe revealed layers of complexity that seemed to reshape themselves in real time. Adaptive reconfiguration detected, the computer announced, its voice tinged with something approaching wonder. System capabilities expanding exponentially. Marcus leaned closer to the primary interface, his cybernetic eye capturing microscopic changes that would have been invisible to standard sensors. The vessel was more than just repairing itself, it was evolving. Molecular structures realigned with a precision that suggested intentionality, as if the ship was actively learning, adapting to its newfound connection with a human operator. Holographic displays erupted with cascading streams of information. Star charts unlike anything in human databases flickered into existence, showing navigation routes through regions of space that humanity had never even imagined. Technical schematics revealed technologies so advanced they seemed to exist in the space between physics and pure imagination. His hands moved almost of their own accord, tracing intricate pathways that seemed to anticipate his intentions. Where a standard mechanical interface would require precise digital commands, this ship responded with a fluidity that bordered on telepathic communication. Marcus realized he was no longer just interfacing with a machine. He was engaged in a dialogue with a living technological entity. The ship's defensive systems came online first, but these were unlike any weapons humanity had conceived. They were adaptive shields that could analyze and neutralize potential threats at a molecular level. Complex algorithms created protective fields that could reshape themselves instantaneously, responding to potential danger with a level of intelligence that suggested something far beyond simple programmed responses. Propulsion systems recalibrating, the computer reported. Quantum drive potential, unprecedented. Marcus understood now that he was witnessing something truly extraordinary. The vessel wasn't just a spacecraft. It was a complete ecosystem of technological potential. Each system interconnected with a complexity that made human engineering look like child's play. Molecular components worked in perfect synchronization, creating pathways of communication that seemed to defy the fundamental laws of physics. His cybernetic eye captured details that would have driven most researchers to madness. Microscopic components shifted and realigned with a purpose that went far beyond mechanical function. The ship was learning, growing, expanding its capabilities with each passing moment. It was as if millions of years of technological development were being compressed into mere hours. Fragments of the vessel's original purpose began to emerge. This was no simple exploration craft or weapon of war. It was a diplomatic instrument designed to bridge gaps between civilizations, to understand and mediate conflicts at a level of complexity humanity could barely comprehend. The propulsion systems were a marvel of engineering that redefined the concept of space travel. Instead of conventional thrust, the ship could manipulate space-time itself, creating corridors of movement that bypassed traditional understanding of faster-than-light travel. Marcus watched in awe as the vessel's internal systems calculated potential routes through the universe with a precision that made human navigation look like crude guesswork. Quantum entanglement stabilizing, the computer reported. Interdimensional navigation protocols coming online. Hours passed like minutes. Marcus lost all sense of time, completely absorbed in the extraordinary discovery. The salvage vessel's systems continued to monitor their position, but inside this alien craft, a transformation was taking place that would rewrite everything humanity understood about technology, about intelligence, about the very nature of existence. The final systems came online with a pulse of energy that seemed to resonate through every molecule of the ship. Marcus felt a sudden, profound connection, as if the vessel was no longer just a machine, but a living entity that had been waiting millions of years to be understood. Primary systems fully operational, the computer announced. Capabilities beyond current classification. Marcus Rodriguez sat back, understanding that everything was about to change. The universe had just revealed one of its most profound secrets, and he was the first human to truly see it. The news spread faster than light itself. Quantum communication networks buzzed with reports of an unprecedented discovery. A human mechanic who had somehow awakened a technology beyond comprehension. Research stations, diplomatic centers, and scientific outposts across multiple star systems turned their attention to the coordinates of Marcus Rodriguez's salvage vessel. The first observers arrived with skepticism etched into their expressions. Representatives from the Galactic Scientific Consortium approached with an arsenal of the most advanced scanning equipment humanity had ever developed. Multiple alien species sent their top researchers, each hoping to unravel the mystery of the awakened vessel. Incoming diplomatic vessels detected, the computer announced. Multiple species approaching. Recommendation: prepare for extensive scientific inquiry. Marcus barely acknowledged the warning. He was deep in concentration, his hands moving across holographic interfaces that now seemed to breathe with living information. The ship responded to his touch with an intimacy that suggested something far beyond a simple mechanical connection. The first official probe arrived from the Centauri research station. Their scanning arrays were designed to penetrate the most complex technological systems known to galactic civilization. But as they attempted to scan the vessel, something extraordinary happened. The ship's defensive systems created a quantum interference field that rendered traditional scanning methods completely ineffective. Researchers watched in disbelief as their most advanced equipment simply failed to penetrate the vessel's exterior. Quantum entanglement patterns shifted and changed, creating a protective barrier that seemed to actively resist investigation. It was as if the ship was making a conscious decision about what information to reveal. Scanning attempt blocked, reported the lead researcher from the Centauri station. Technological capabilities beyond current understanding. Representatives from 3 different alien civilizations convened an emergency conference. The Zorn Collective, known for their advanced technological insights, sent their chief researcher. The telepathic councils of Craxus dispatched their most experienced diplomatic analysts. Even the isolationist Quantum Sovereignty made an unprecedented move to send observers. Marcus remained focused on the vessel's internal systems. He understood now that he was more than just a mechanic. He had become a bridge between human potential and a level of technological development that defied conventional understanding. Holographic displays throughout the research stations filled with fragments of data. Incomplete readings suggested technologies that could manipulate space-time, communicate across dimensional boundaries, and understand complex systems at a molecular level. Each piece of information raised more questions than answers. The scientific community began to fragment. Some researchers argued that the discovery was too dangerous, that the technology should be contained or destroyed. Others saw it as the greatest scientific breakthrough in galactic history. Debates raged across research stations, diplomatic centers, and communication networks. Diplomatic tension increasing, the computer reported. Multiple species expressing conflicting intentions. Marcus understood the implications. This wasn't just a technological discovery. It was a potential turning point for human civilization. The vessel represented a level of technological development that could reshape understanding of space, time, and interstellar communication. Quantum analysis teams worked around the clock, attempting to decode even the smallest fragments of information. But the ship seemed to be selecting what to reveal, creating an almost playful interaction with the researchers. Complex mathematical equations would appear and then dissolve, leaving behind tantalizing hints of technologies beyond comprehension. The Galactic Scientific Consortium convened an emergency session. Representatives from multiple species gathered to discuss the unprecedented discovery. Some saw it as a potential threat, others as the greatest scientific breakthrough in centuries. Subject demonstrates unprecedented adaptive capabilities, reported the lead researcher. Connection with human operator appears to be critical to technological interface. Marcus knew he was at the center of something extraordinary. The vessel had chosen him, had connected with him in a way that defied traditional understanding of technology. He was no longer just a salvage mechanic. He had become something more. As observation vessels continued to arrive, the ship seemed to pulse with an almost amused energy. It was waiting, watching, revealing only what it chose to reveal. And at the center of it all was Marcus Rodriguez, the human who had awakened a technological marvel that would change everything. Observation complete, the computer announced. Galactic attention, maximum. The universe had just been reminded that humanity was capable of far more than anyone had ever imagined. The first warning came as a subtle shift in quantum communication frequencies. Marcus's cybernetic eye detected the anomaly milliseconds before the ship's advanced warning systems activated. Something was approaching, something that didn't want the vessel's secrets to be revealed. A massive fleet began to materialize at the edge of the local star system. These were not the diplomatic vessels of curious researchers. These were ships built for a single purpose: reclamation and elimination. The original creators of the vessel had awakened, and they were not pleased with its discovery. Incoming hostile vessels detected, the computer announced. Threat assessment. Critical. The alien fleet moved with a precision that spoke of centuries of military strategy. Each ship was a marvel of technological engineering, designed for a singular purpose of containment and destruction. They approached in a formation that suggested absolute confidence in their superiority. Marcus understood immediately. This wasn't just about recovering a lost piece of technology. This was about preventing the spread of knowledge that could fundamentally alter the balance of power in the galaxy. The ship around him seemed to come alive with a different energy. Defensive systems that had been dormant now hummed with potential, creating layers of protection that went far beyond traditional shield technologies. Quantum interference fields began to generate, creating complex patterns of protection that would have been impossible to comprehend moments earlier. Defensive protocols initiating, the computer reported. Quantum shielding at maximum capacity. But this was more than a simple defensive maneuver. The vessel was analyzing, learning, preparing. Each incoming scan from the hostile fleet was met with a response that seemed to adapt and change in real time. It was as if the ship was having a complex conversation through technology, anticipating and countering potential threats before they could fully materialize. Marcus's hands moved across the interfaces with an intuition that went beyond mechanical understanding. He was no longer just operating the ship. He was becoming part of its complex system of defense and communication. The boundaries between human operator and technological marvel began to blur. The first wave of attack came as a burst of quantum disruption. Weapons designed to neutralize the most advanced technological systems crashed against the vessel's defenses. But instead of being destroyed, the ship seemed to absorb the energy, breaking it down and converting it into additional protective capabilities. Energy conversion at 247%, the computer announced. Threat analysis. Neutralizing. The hostile fleet was clearly unprepared for this level of resistance. Their advanced weapons, designed to eliminate the most complex technological systems, were being turned against them. Each attack made the ship stronger, more adaptive, more capable of resistance. Marcus watched as the vessel created complex quantum interference patterns. These were not just defensive shields, they were active countermeasures that analyzed and neutralized incoming threats at a molecular level. The ship was literally rewriting the rules of technological warfare. Diplomatic channels erupted with communication. The fleet demanded the immediate surrender of the vessel, threatening complete destruction of the surrounding star system. But Marcus and the ship remained resolute. They were no longer simply defending. They were demonstrating a level of technological capability that challenged everything these attackers understood. Communication attempt detected. The computer reported. Threat level, maximum. The battle was unlike anything in human or alien military history. Traditional concepts of warfare became meaningless. This was a conflict fought at the quantum level, with technologies that bordered on pure information manipulation. Each moment brought new levels of complexity, new layers of technological interaction. Marcus realized he was witnessing something extraordinary. This wasn't just a battle, it was a conversation. The vessel was communicating through its defensive systems, telling a story of potential, of evolution, of a technology that refused to be controlled or contained. Holographic displays filled with complex mathematical equations, showing the intricate dance of defensive capabilities. The ship was learning with each moment, adapting, growing more sophisticated with each incoming threat. Threat analysis complete. The computer announced. Defensive capabilities. Optimal. As the hostile fleet continued its assault, Marcus Rodriguez understood that everything was about to change. The universe had just been reminded that true potential comes from adaptability, from the ability to learn and grow in the face of overwhelming opposition. The vessel pulsed with an energy that seemed to say, "We are not just surviving. We are evolving." The moment of revelation came slowly, then all at once. Marcus discovered the vessel's true purpose, a discovery that would reshape humanity's understanding of technological potential and interstellar diplomacy. Quantum interfaces began to unravel a story millions of years in the making. The ship was not a weapon of war, as the attacking fleet believed. It was a diplomatic instrument of unprecedented complexity, designed to bridge differences between civilizations, to understand and mediate conflicts at a level of sophistication that defied imagination. Primary mission protocol detected, the computer announced. Diplomatic initialization sequence. Active. The ship's systems began to transform. Defensive capabilities merged with communication protocols, creating a hybrid system that was simultaneously a shield and a method of dialogue. Marcus watched in awe as complex communication matrices formed, translating the most intricate technological and biological languages with instantaneous precision. His cybernetic eye captured details that would have driven most researchers to confusion. Molecular systems realigned, creating pathways of understanding that went far beyond traditional communication methods. The vessel was preparing to speak, not with words, but with a form of technological communication that transcended linguistic barriers. The hostile fleet's assault began to lose momentum. Their weapons, once devastating, now seemed almost primitive against the vessel's adaptive capabilities. Each attack was met not with pure defensive resistance, but with a form of technological dialogue that seemed to neutralize conflict at its source. Conflict resolution protocols engaging, the computer reported. Probability of peaceful resolution increasing. Marcus felt a profound connection to the ship's systems. He was no longer just an operator. He had become a critical component of its diplomatic mechanism. The boundaries between human consciousness and technological intelligence blurred into something entirely new. Holographic displays filled with complex mathematical equations that told stories of potential peace. The ship analyzed conflict patterns, cultural differences, and communication barriers with a sophistication that made human diplomatic efforts look like child's play. It was creating solutions to conflicts that hadn't even fully manifested. The attacking fleet began to hesitate. Their most advanced scanning systems could not penetrate the vessel's quantum shields. More importantly, they could not understand the complex communication matrices that were being generated. It was as if the ship was speaking a language of pure potential, of conflict resolution beyond traditional understanding. Fragments of the vessel's original mission became clear. Created during a time of massive galactic conflict, it was designed as the ultimate peacekeeping instrument. Not a weapon of destruction, but a tool of understanding. Its creators had developed a technology that could analyze and potentially resolve conflicts at their most fundamental level. Diplomatic interface stabilizing, the computer announced. Probability of peaceful resolution, 98.7%. The ship began to generate complex quantum communication fields. These were not simply messages. They were living systems of understanding that could analyze the deepest motivations, fears, and hopes of different civilizations. Marcus watched as intricate patterns of communication formed, bridging gaps that seemed impossible to cross. Representatives from the attacking fleet found themselves experiencing something unprecedented. Their most aggressive intentions were being analyzed, understood, and transformed. The vessel was not fighting back. It was engaging in the most sophisticated form of conflict resolution ever conceived. Marcus Rodriguez had become more than a mechanic. He was now a critical component of a system designed to bring understanding to the most complex interstellar conflicts. His human intuition, combined with the ship's advanced capabilities, created a bridge of communication that defied all previous understanding. The quantum communication matrices expanded, creating a field of understanding that encompassed the entire star system. Conflict patterns were being analyzed, potential resolutions generated in milliseconds. The ship was doing what no diplomatic team had ever accomplished, finding common ground in the most fundamental sense. Diplomatic resolution protocol complete, the computer announced. Conflict neutralized. The hostile fleet began to withdraw. Not in defeat, but in a state of profound confusion. They had come to reclaim or destroy a technological artifact, only to find themselves engaged in a form of communication that challenged everything they understood about conflict and resolution. As the final communication matrices dissolved, Marcus understood the true miracle of the moment. This was not just a technological breakthrough. This was a demonstration of a fundamental truth, that true understanding could overcome any barrier, any conflict. The universe had just witnessed something extraordinary. A human and a living technology had found a way to communicate beyond the boundaries of species, of technology, of understanding itself. The aftermath of the conflict redefined everything humanity understood about technology, diplomacy, and potential. Marcus Rodriguez stood at the center of a transformation that would echo through galactic history, a simple mechanic who had become something far more extraordinary. Diplomatic vessels from across multiple star systems converged to study the unprecedented event. The Galactic Scientific Consortium assembled its most advanced research teams, each hoping to unravel the mystery of how a human and a sophisticated alien vessel had accomplished what centuries of diplomatic efforts had failed to achieve. Comprehensive analysis requested, the ship's computer announced. Multiple civilizations seeking understanding. The vessel's systems continued to evolve, demonstrating capabilities that challenged fundamental understanding of technology and communication. Quantum interfaces translated complex diplomatic intentions with a precision that made traditional communication methods seem primitive. Each moment revealed another layer of the ship's incredible potential. Marcus discovered that the ship was more than just a technological marvel. It was a living archive of galactic knowledge. Millions of years of collected information flowed through its systems, creating a repository of understanding that went far beyond simple data storage. It was a living memory of civilizations long forgotten, of conflicts resolved and potential futures explored. Research teams worked around the clock, struggling to comprehend the depth of the technological breakthrough. The ship's defensive systems, its communication protocols, its ability to analyze and resolve conflicts, All of these were so far beyond current understanding that many researchers believed they were witnessing something approaching magic. Technological analysis incomplete, the computer reported. Capabilities continued to expand. The diplomatic implications were profound. The vessel demonstrated a method of conflict resolution that went beyond traditional negotiation. It could analyze the deepest motivations of different civilizations, finding common ground in ways that seemed impossible. Marcus had become a critical component of this system, his human intuition working in perfect synchronization with the ship's advanced capabilities. Holographic displays filled with complex communication matrices. Star charts showed potential diplomatic routes that could prevent conflicts before they even began. The ship was not just analyzing past conflicts, it was predicting and preventing future tensions with a level of sophistication that seemed to border on prescience. Representatives from multiple alien civilizations struggled to process what had occurred. The hostile fleet that had attacked now found themselves in diplomatic discussions, their most aggressive intentions transformed by the vessel's extraordinary communication capabilities. It was as if the ship could speak the universal language of potential and understanding. Marcus Rodriguez became more than a hero. He became a symbol of humanity's unexpected potential. A simple salvage mechanic had demonstrated that true understanding could overcome the most complex barriers. His connection with the ship showed that technology was not just about power, but about communication, about finding common ground. Diplomatic integration protocols active, the computer announced. Galactic potential expanding. The vessel began to generate complex quantum communication fields that could be felt across entire star systems. These were not simply messages. They were living systems of understanding that could analyze the deepest motivations, fears, and hopes of different civilizations. The boundaries between technology and consciousness continued to blur. Research teams discovered something extraordinary. The ship was not just a technological artifact. It was a living system of potential. Its ability to learn, to adapt, to understand went far beyond any previous understanding of artificial intelligence. Marcus had become more than an operator. He was a critical component of a system that could bridge the most fundamental differences. Galactic diplomatic centers began to redesign their entire approach to interstellar communication. The vessel demonstrated a method of understanding that went beyond language, beyond technology, beyond the traditional boundaries of species and civilization. It showed that true potential came from the ability to listen, to understand, to find common ground. Potential trajectories analyzed, the computer reported. Diplomatic capabilities, unprecedented. As weeks passed, the full implications of the discovery began to emerge. The ship was not just a technological marvel, it was a bridge between civilizations. Its ability to analyze and resolve conflicts suggested a future where understanding could overcome the most fundamental differences. Marcus Rodriguez understood that he had become something more than he could have ever imagined. A simple salvage mechanic had transformed into a symbol of humanity's unexpected potential. The universe had just been reminded that true innovation comes from the ability to connect, to understand, to see potential where others saw only conflict. The ship pulsed with an energy of pure possibility. It was more than a technological artifact. It was a beacon of hope, a demonstration that understanding could overcome any barrier. Humanity had just taken its first step into a larger, more connected universe.